now to be replanted again September.
So if there's no soccer, that has nothing to do with the baseball fields, that has to do with the soccer fields were not repaired.
Well, I don't think that you would have been playing on them this first season if the
But
grass
we're going
had
on 3, if
grown.
they've been seeded twice.
There's no excuse for that field not being ready to be played on by, period.
I have a question about that, though. Was the soccer fields under the OSLAD grant?
Yes,
So would it not have been the OSLAD committee,
yes.
not just Charlie, that would have been responsible for the first
Yes, but
two?
we've never met with an OSLAD committee, we don't know anything about it, or who's.
Right, I know.
So-
But everybody keeps pointing at Charlie, and he's a co-chairman, so why is the chairman, the other co-chairman, not here to answer the same question? Because they could have had
He
a,
uses the papers.
do what?
He uses the papers.
The paper, oh, you have actual minutes from OSLAD committee minutes?
Do you have committee meetings?
Do you have committee meetings?
Do we have committee meetings occasionally? Yes.
Okay, when was the last one?
We tried to have one.
No, not tried. When
No.
did you have one?
I'd have to go back and I don't have that date on my.
Last 6 months?
Early spring, it would be a guess.
Okay, can you tell me who was at that meeting? So that I could go ask them about the grass problem?
We met at Dan's office, Dan Colis's office,
Okay,
and I believe it was, well, I should probably say I'm not certain, so it'd be best if I didn't answer without looking it up.
and you have copies of all those minutes?
We have shorthand notes.
So nothing that you could turn into these guys so that the finger's not pointed at them? Because it seems to me that the OSLAD committee is the ones that were overseeing the grass, not the
Correct.
park board.
The park board had little if any input into
We
it.
had no input that I knew of in the OSLAD period.
Well, and it's my understanding at the last city council meeting that Red Dot said that they wouldn't plant it again because it wasn't cared for. That's just
Yes.
what I got out of the.
I have done some research in the past few days. In fact, Mike Melcy with Blankenship was here on another occasion yesterday, and we visited, or he increased my knowledge as to how to try to see if this is a contractor issue or a warranty issue. My understanding that you are to plant grass within certain windows of opportunity, I'm going to ask
Right.
or suggest, and I'm not certain that either of those have been met.
Who's responsible, when you say contractor, who's responsible for planting grass?
The contractor,
Who's the contractor?
Red Dot.
Red Dot.
Okay. If they plant the grass, are they contracted to maintain it and to nurture it and see it
That's what he's
germinate
gonna
and grow?
find out. He's supposed to find out from the engineers.
So I've been in contact with J.T. Blankenship, the consulting engineer on the project, and he has given me some guidance as to.
Why do we have to get in touch with an engineer to plant grass?
Especially after this.
Doesn't that seem like a little overkill?
Let me go get the manual.
You know? No, Charlie, I'm just asking, doesn't it, to give an engineer
Yes, sir.
to help you plant grass, doesn't
They,
that seem like a
Grass.
little overkill?
grass was part of the overall phase for the soccer fields, the leveling of the soccer fields, the tennis courts, parking lots, driveways were all part of that phase. And they came up with the specs, and they borrowed those, or used as guidelines, those that were established by IDOT. And it's the contractor's responsibility to plant lawn seed.
It's Red Dot, Red Dot. Let's call Red Dot the contractor.
Correct.
Okay.
Red Dot, as part of their contract, which was overseen, drawn up by J.T. Blankenship, and they get paid for doing it.
Okay.
So when it didn't take the first time, and then you went back to Red Dot and said it didn't take, so then
Correct.
they said they'll do it again.
Yes,
Okay, so it didn't take the second time, and they're saying we'll do it again. I mean, would this be
Well,
an ongoing thing?
No,
I-
no,
No?
no. I spoke to Mr. Schrader an hour and a half before the last council meeting, and I asked him, what's up the soccer field, are you gonna reseed it again? Absolutely not. The field was not watered, the field was not maintained, and I'm not doing it again. It's that
Okay,
plain
well,
and simple.
It seems to me the problem is who's supposed to do the watering.
Exactly.
And does it even
Yeah.
come under your jurisdiction yet, since it hasn't come out from under the OSLAG
That's what I'm
committee?
trying to find out.
See,
though.
do
Who's
you,
responsible for
are you
that?
guys even responsible for making sure it gets done? Or is the
Maybe-
OSLAG committee supposed to
maybe
make
we-
that?
Wouldn't have been, but maybe we should have been.
Yeah.
If we were on the ball, we would have asked about it and tried to get it done. Because I remember when we did the #1 baseball field out there. There's watering supposed to.
You're right.
We had to water that.
Right, but Colette, here's the difference. That committee went off separate from the park board.
I know, but what I'm
And
saying,
we, if they don't, Charlie comes and gives us a paper each month, but we don't know.
somebody has to do it, and maybe we should have been responsible.
No.
No.
It hasn't been turned over to the park board
So
yet.
that it gets done.
No, ma'am, that's their responsibility.
Yeah, we've never brought this up until just recently, and we can't be responsible for something we didn't know anything about.
Well,
Now-
maybe not
Now, we're
responsible.
responsible for the soccer fields when they're ready to be used.
When the oscillate's
But if
complete.
we were helpful,
It was, no.
and we would have known about it,
No,
maybe we
no.
could have done something.
No.
I'd have gone out there and watered.
No.
You would have,
No.
Colette, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You would have. I know you would
You
have.
didn't know about it. But you
I'm right, that's
The
what I'm
reason
saying.
is that they didn't care if you
It
knew.
wasn't our responsibility at the time, and it's not our responsibility now to water, okay?
No.
It's not our
Sometimes,
responsibility.
sometimes you have to do things you don't want.
Well, I understand,
But
but
then
we
you
didn't
make
know
the
about,
No.
we weren't even made aware and didn't know about the fact that they were having all this trouble with growing grass.
I know,
Jim?
and I know.
You're the best person in town,
Let
Colette.
me help you
Okay,
here
Kevin.
for a minute.
Mhm.
Let's, okay, all this is put in a spec book. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and speak up,
Go ahead,
okay?
Kevin. We need
I'm
your
gonna go ahead and
input.
speak up, I've heard. All this is put in a spec book. I've never seen the spec book. The spec book is the book that tells you the type of seed that meets the requirements, okay? And the dated seed, it tells you the amount of seed per square footage, per acre, and the type of seed that's used. Now, you're going to have a variety. It's going to tell you the amount of fertilizer that was taken off of the soil sample that you're going to need. It's also going to tell you a multiple way of sowing the grass. There's no such thing as a grass seed not taken. The first thing is, if it doesn't go, it's because it germinated and it burned up from water. But that wasn't the case. There's a case where there's different scenarios why the grass didn't grow, but there's no such thing as not taking. There's a certain case where there's not enough grass seed. There's a case where the fertilizer was correct. There should have been a journal kept on the weather, the amount of water. We should have had enough grass to bale hay off of this year with 24 inches of rain. Okay? The point is, how was the seed applied the first time? Was it sowed? Was it drilled? Was it broadcasted? And was the straw disc in? These are all questions that come about. This has got everything to do with growing grass. There's a certain case of, if I was to take that grass, we've got to know what kind of grass we got, whether or not it's drought resistant. There's certain types of grass just don't even hardly want any water, okay? Or what you got there, how fancy grass you want. The whole point of it is, I'm blaming because there was nobody overseeing the project. And all of this stuff, every tag on every